What is up, traders, and welcome back to the channel. Google just dropped its Q2 2025 earnings, and the numbers are exceptional. Today we're breaking down these key results, and more importantly, I'm sharing my top 3 key buy levels for Google stock, and we'll also dive into the key technicals and connect them to these earnings, aiming for exact precision in our analysis and get you the best possible price. So without further ado, let's get right into it. So let's get straight into the headlines here. We see Google's revenue increased by 14% year over year, showing strong double-digit growth. We also see their operating income increasing, which is very nice to see that their business operations are doing well, and they're doing well here in reducing the overall costs. Now, let's go down to the main segment here, which is the overall service revenues and operating income. We see here Google Search being up 12% year over year, and most exceptionally here, subscriptions, platforms, and devices up 20% year over year growth. Now, this is where I really want to reiterate here. There's been this bearish sentiment that LLMs and AI is going to heavily impact Google's advertising business, but I firmly disagree with that sentiment. I believe that AI is actually an opportunity for Google. That's what we're seeing, increased capex, right? There's no reason to be selling the stock. Google is seeing that AI is the future of the business. They're investing heavily in cloud, and as well, I believe that since Google owns YouTube, they can use their model, leverage AI to give more personalized ads, which allows businesses to target their audiences better and also allow the consumer to receive better ads tailored to them, which will obviously increase their advertising time and increase the revenues for Google, right? As well, we have to consider that OpenAI was a first in the road, right? But Google has catched up with the release of Gemini and AI mode. They've been seeing significant growth. And personally, I've been testing it out, and Gemini is increasingly getting faster, and the deep reasoning on the models is absolutely phenomenal. So there really isn't a reason to be fearful of search. Actually, AI is going to enhance and allow Google to grow at a faster rate than the majority of these companies that don't invest in AI. And that's what Wall Street isn't getting clearly here. So if you scroll down here, we see the Google Cloud revenues up an outstanding 32% growth, right? That is exceptional. We're seeing continued double-digit growth, and for some reason, the stock is still selling off, right? This is why I believe Google is an undervalued stock on the long term and is a potential key AI player alongside Amazon with their AWS. Now, if we go down here, we see their CapEx increased here now to 22 billion here, and that's why we saw that kind of a sell-off here from the stock. But here, the CEO, Sundar Pichai, stated that it's necessary for the growth of Google that they invest heavily in their AI infrastructure. And we've seen this now with the growth in Google Cloud and the exceptional margins that they're getting here of the business. As well, if we scroll down, we see the trailing 12 months here, the free cash flow has been increasing, right? But it's kind of been levered down, obviously, with the intense capex. And here's what I want to reiterate here. If we go towards the valuation here, Google is having all-time high net profit margins, and that means that they're the most profitable they've ever been, right? And this is barely with the advent of AI. We're not even factoring in the immense potential that Google Cloud has as a bigger part of revenue on Google, right? I firmly believe these margins will go up over time. And we're also seeing that, their free cash flow isn't really decreasing, and they're heavily spending on CapEx, and the free cash flow isn't really impacted. That pretty much shows that they're making a lot of money here from their key businesses to sustain the growth from Google Cloud, and now we're starting to see that growth here as well. Now, going to the charts here of Google, we see that the stock has been selling off, right? On the open right now, as of most recent, the stock is trading at $191 here per share. And some key levels that I'm looking out for to buy Google are going to be the 189 with 48 cents, as well the $185 level, and if there's a deeper correction towards $179. While you may be asking, why do you see these key levels? Well, if we have an important confluence zone here of this level as well as with the 50 EMA. So there's going to be a lot of buyers found here around this zone, and precisely I say within the range of 187, and more precisely 185 is going to be a deep buy. If the stock here is going to pull back more deeply, then we're going to see some type of buying here around this zone because it's forming confluence with the 200 EMA. As you guys know, this black line is the 200 and this yellow line is the 50 EMA. As well, the stock is exceptionally well. We've seen intense volume. Wall Street isn't seeing it really heavily, but I believe the stock to find support here at these key levels of 189 as well as 185 and 179. Now price targets towards the upside here on Google. If we got to zoom out here on a daily chart of the stock and looking at it here, we still have the price targets of Google achieving the all-time highs of 208 and our second price target here of $247. This is obviously based on future price targets, and also doing a DCF price analysis, we see that Google is heavily undervalued. The PE ratio is heavily towards the downside. It's pretty cheap compared to the S&P 500. And also we're seeing that with a DCF, we're getting around an estimated price of 260, and it closely aligns with the technicals towards a potential upside here of $250. Now, if you like this analysis, feel free to subscribe to the channel and give the video a like. As always, don't let the markets whip you guys out, and I'll see you guys on the next one.